Going to be a quick session on how to pin Tropidacris ducks or dupe. This is a world's largest. They are unlike crickets and katydids. They have very short antennae. It's one of the discriminating factors between the two. Is locusts and grasshoppers generally have fairly long bodies and short antennas, and katydids are a little bit more stout and have really long antennas, longer than their body. And in this case, this is a neotropical species of grasshopper. You know, you're going to find them in Central and South America, mostly in Central. They swarm, they have huge, as a grasshopper, they can become locusts, and that's just really a metric of how big the swarm is. And so these can be agricultural pests, but they're also a large piece of the nutritional puzzle in the ecosystems in the rainforest. Everything from bats to bugs and other animals of all kinds will take these guys live or dead. They represent a huge biomass when they do become mass and swarm, and they of course eat large amounts of biomass. So this species is record-breaking size. They can get to like 14-centimeter wingspans or so, or even more. The females are very large. They generally have lots of color when they're alive. They lose a lot. Most katydids and grasshoppers lose quite a bit of color once they start to dry. The only way to prevent that is to get them right after they pass and freeze dry them. Otherwise, they'll lose a lot of the green. These guys are usually pretty green when they're alive, but they do retain some of their color and some of their patterns, which are still pretty striking. Like, these have pretty cool orange and black wings, even some red in them. And so I hydrated him overnight, and I'm just gonna pin him as fast as I can to kind of make sure he doesn't close back up too much. And then this guy I'm gonna pin upside down, so that way I can get the wings where I want them, nice and flat. So I'm gonna start by anchoring the head. Then I'm gonna move down to the hind legs and kind of just push them out of the way a little bit, get the body straight. And I'm gonna pin the abdomen in place a little bit. Then I move up to the forelegs, kind of keep them where I want them, just kind of out of the way. Adds a little bit of balance to it, so when I start pulling the wings, the body's pretty rigid now. I can kind of play with them the way I need to get them where I want. This wing I'll put up. I'll do the tip so it has the most leverage to keep it open. I'll be pinning, making an obtuse angle towards the specimen as much as I can to keep the paper from sliding up the needles. I'll match the other side. And then I can always come back and make adjustments too if I don't think it's symmetrical, or there's something about one wing being shorter than another, or some genetic expression that makes it not very symmetrical. You can always find an aesthetic way to make it look cool. Now it's pretty much done. I just want to make sure that this wing is hydrated well enough where I can get the full spread on it. It spreads easily. I've had to mist it a few times even after I took it out. So I'm gonna go straight down the middle on this one where the big vein is, and then pin in between the two wings to kind of lock it in place. And in this one, I'm gonna make different angles for each needle on either side of the wing. And so that's pretty much done. Unlike butterfly wings, these wings are a lot tougher and they won't wrinkle as much. So I just want to get enough to lock it in place, and then the drying process will go underway, and they will stay pretty nice and rigid. this one over here. You don't have to worry about scales on these guys or any of the kind of tricks that could damage a butterfly. These guys have all their color inside the wing. It's not going to rub off. They're very durable. In fact, they're so strong that they'll fight you if you can't quite get the pin where you want it. Like here, this wing keeps sliding down, and you can see how many ridges they have. Those are all, I mean, these are long distance flyers. They can travel quite a distance to find new places to eat. So you definitely want to be liberal with the pins. Don't be conservative. There's no reason not to use a whole bunch if you have to. So it's still kind of fighting me a little bit here. I'm going to do one more paper on the tip here. And the one thing I have to do is raise the wing above, just to get it out of the way a little bit, because it is a little lower than the right side. I can see that now. So I'm going to leave the bottom pins in and just slide this wing up a little bit. And that looks a little bit better as far as matching the other side. So, as far as I'm concerned, that's the hard part of the job. That's most of the work on these guys, is getting the wings the way you want them. A lot of it is just the hydration. If he's not quite hydrated enough, you'll see that the legs are easy to move, but once you get to the wings, the hind wings, if they're not hydrated very well towards the thorax where the main joint is, as you spread them open, it can rip and it'll just be like a zipper, like a seam will just appear down the wing. And it's hard to repair the middle of a wing. It's better just to oversaturate them just for a little bit. So when I took him out, I used a spray bottle just on the inner side of the wing, just to kind of add a little bit more moisture, and I waited 5 minutes. And then now he's perfect. No problems. And lastly, I'll revisit the legs here just to get them to stick straight up. Maybe he looks like he's celebrating too much, I don't know. But I like having the legs up and out, and I like having the antennas also pointing out. And there you go. That is the Tropidacris dute. This is the largest species. This particular specimen isn't anything special as far as size, but you get the idea that they have striking colors. They're green, they're orange, they're black, they're red. It's pretty cool. Thanks for watching.